You're listening to How to Talk to Kids About the Coronavirus on the Child Life On Call podcast. Hey friends, it's Katie from Child Life On Call. For the month of July, we are reposting some of our most downloaded episodes from the past 5 years. This is our second most downloaded episode ever. It is one of our quick how-tos and was a little bit different than usual. So I basically did a COVID-19 prep for children so that they could actually listen to it while they were in the car or sitting with their parents. So a little bit of a different episode, but it got a lot of downloads, and I think it's because we all really like hearing some examples of language to say and language to use. This might be pretty timely as we are looking to prepare our 6-month-old to up to 5 who now are approved to have the vaccine. So I hope you enjoy this episode. Before we jump into the episode, I wanted to let you guys know that if you are a parent, a child life specialist, or professional working with children, you're going to want the hospital or physician's office or urgent care that you take your kids to have the Child Life On Call app. It is an evidence-based tool designed to empower children and families during medical experiences. And 100% of the child life specialists who have used this app believe that it can help with expanding child life's reach beyond the bedside. And 100% of child life specialists believe it helps parents feel more empowered in their child's care. Learn how to get the Child Life On Call app for your facility or doctor's office by going to childlifeoncall.com/partners. And I wanted to take the opportunity to share some thoughts about talking to children and adolescents about the coronavirus. This topic is obviously top of mind, as it is literally everywhere you look, every person you talk to. It's taking over, like even little chats about the weather, right? It's coronavirus nonstop. And the little graphic that I made for social media posts about talking to your kids has gotten a lot of leverage. So I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on the topic. And I'm coming at you with this as a parent, a child life specialist, but also somebody who is walking alongside you and having all of the same questions that you're having. So do we really need to be freaking out about this? Should we cancel our upcoming trip? Do I need to go stock up on toilet paper? Oh my God, Tom Hanks, are you going to be okay? Seriously, like the NBA has been canceled. So definitely some concerning things happening in our world. And us as adults are having a hard time digesting it all. So I think we need to be really mindful and thoughtful about how we're going to talk to our kids about this. Thankfully, when it comes to talking to our kids, we can keep a lot of those worries distanced from them. Children and adolescents are craving a strong, compassionate leader who is honest and sets appropriate boundaries and expectations. An adult who demonstrates this kind of attitude is what's going to help them cope with the unknown. An adult that is consumed by media and panicking about plans and shopping like crazy will result in a child who is acting in the same way. So as you navigate this difficult coronavirus epidemic and really other life challenges, keep that mantra in mind. My children want a strong, compassionate leader, and my children are craving boundaries. They want to feel safe. The other thing that kids are craving is easy to digest information. Scott said it best on this podcast a couple episodes ago when he said, break it down. In general, kids are going to ask questions that they want to know the answers to, and they aren't going to ask the questions that they're not quite ready to handle. So if you don't know how to answer a tough question, one of the strategies I like to do is just mirror and validate their feelings. So throw it back to them and say, you seem really worried about this, or this topic seems to be on your mind a lot. And then it's up to you to follow their cues during that conversation. So is their body language telling you that they're done talking about it? Have they stopped asking questions? Have they changed the subject? If that's the case, you can validate their choice to be done and say something like, I can see you're done talking about this right now. And then just close out the conversation with saying something like, know that I'm here if any other feelings or questions come up to you about this. I don't want you to have to handle this on your own. That's This is why I'm here. I'm your mom. I'm your dad. I'm your parent. I'm your grandparent. I'm your child life specialist. I'm your nurse. I want to help you feel safe and help you navigate this. You don't have to do it alone. That's really what kids want to know. So with all of that said, let's get to the nitty-gritty of actually talking to your kids about the coronavirus. The first thing is to create an opportunity for open communication. So what that looks like is you can, if you want, kind of have a family meeting setting with something a little bit more formal, but you can also have an open-ended conversation. And I think that's usually the best approach, because it's usually when we're not expecting our kids to open up is usually when they do, and maybe something's on their mind. So we want to make them know that we're available 24/7 to answer questions or worries that they may have. They're going to hear things from kids at school. They're going to see things on social media. And I think it's good for a life lesson to remind them that a lot of the information they're hearing may not be factual. And so let's find out together if what you heard at school is actually what's happening. I was talking to Shani from childlifemommy.com, and she was saying how her kiddos think that the PE teacher has coronavirus. And so that just kind of started a lot of rumors in their school. So I think it's good to investigate the information together and just remind kids, hey, if there's a question that's happening in your mind or that you and your friends are talking about, let's figure it out together. We'll be right back. If you have ever wondered where you could get those cloth dolls that Child Life Specialists use with kids for medical education or sending home to siblings or to draw on for therapeutic activities, then you don't have to wonder any longer, because our friends at Smile Makers have decided to now sell these amazing cloth dolls for a very affordable price. I know that when I was in the hospital, I would have to rely on a volunteer network to then give us the dolls, which was really nice, but I had to wait a lot of times. Like I would need a doll now and I wasn't able to get it. So this is a great place to be able to go get your procedure dolls at smilemakers.com. And y'all, they have 3 different skin tones for these cloth procedure dolls. In addition, you can actually buy a procedure doll prep bundle that comes with fabric markers. This is a fabulous way to do your medical teaching, to help siblings feel involved, to get kids creative, to do a lot of teaching about different diagnoses. And so go to smilemakers.com so you can get your cloth dolls as soon as possible before they run out. And when you go to that checkout to get your cloth dolls, also type in OnCall20 and you will get 20% off your entire order. So not just the cloth dolls. So if you get a bundle for Child Life Specialists, if you get a piece of furniture, if you get one of their really cool toys and prizes, or you order a large sticker order from them, OnCall20 gets you 20% off your whole order. That's smilemakers.com, code OnCall20 to get 20% off. I think another thing to do is really focus on what we do know. So there's a lot of unknowns, a lot of questions we were talking about, like, do I cancel the beach trip? Do I need to go buy extra toilet paper? I think what we focus on is what we do know. We know this is a virus that is new from China. We know that it acts a lot like a cold or flu virus. We know that it's typically affecting the elderly and not kids as much. And it's spread through coming into contact with someone who has the virus. And hand washing is the number one way to stop the spread of this virus. And so that kind of leads us into the empowerment part of the conversation. You know, you can say to your kid, you already know how to handle this. Like, you already know how to wash your hands. You do it all the time. You know, you're really careful. You make sure you drink out of your drink when you're at school. And, you know, you wash your hands before you eat, and you're already good at not touching your face a lot. So really empower your kids to let them know they already know how to handle all of this. If that doesn't feel like it empowers them enough, I think it's okay to literally walk through hand washing with your kids and say, you know how to stop the spread of germs and viruses. And so let's just see what it looks like to wash your hands for 20 seconds. Let's start a timer together. And so you know what that's going to feel like. Teach them about rubbing the top of their hand, the bottom, in between their fingers, make bubbles together, count to 20 as you're doing it, and then, dry your hands. So I know that sounds a little bit silly, but what you're doing as you're doing this act is empowering your kids to know they can handle this, they know how to take care of it, and they're in control of their bodies. So while there are some things that we can control, it's okay to admit that there are unknowns about this. I think we want to represent to our children that we are this strong, compassionate leader, right? That's what our children are craving. And with that comes acknowledging that we don't have all the answers and that that's okay, because there are people who are trying to figure it out. So we've got scientists, we've got clinicians, we've got the CDC, we have a lot of different agencies that are coming up with a plan to combat this virus. And that doesn't mean that mom or dad has to be the expert about it. So that means that we actually get to be okay with having some questions that we don't have the answers to. But we do know that when we have those questions, we know what to do with them. We can write them down, we can investigate them. And sometimes we just have to be okay with saying, we don't know right now, but we can find out. And I think that's a perfectly acceptable response to this. And then to finish all this up, this really just comes down to setting a good example for your child and for the kids around you. Like other aspects of being an adult that is around children, you want to model behavior that you want your children to follow. So that means even for you, maybe take a break from some of the conversations that you're having with neighbors about it in front of your kids. I think it's maybe not having the NPR daily news report on as you're going in the car. I think it's at the 5:30 news when it comes on, maybe changing the channel or just turning the TV off. If you're getting worried about it in front of your kids, they're going to follow that and model that behavior. So it's probably good for us as adults too to take a break from it. I think it's good to have a daily check-in, get the most up-to-date, accurate information. And then, you can offer that to your kids too. Hey, we can have a once-a-day check-in about this if it's really making you nervous. It's really making you worried. I want to make sure that you have the answers that you want to have. There's very little doubt that this coronavirus has spread a lot of fear and panic quickly, but that doesn't mean that we have to demonstrate that to our kid. You are a strong, compassionate leader, and you're going to help create boundaries for your child within this. So this is a situation and a learning opportunity really for you to exhibit the kind of behavior that you want your child to have. It's normal to have worries. It's normal to have fears. You can talk to them about that. But you want to be their buffer for when there is an unknown or there is a crisis or a trauma. You are their buffer and you're going to help them get through it. So I've really enjoyed talking to you about how to talk to kids about the coronavirus and helping answer some questions. And if there's other topics or thoughts or feelings or questions that you have that you would like some child life specialist input on, I would love to speak with you more about it. So just send those my way, either through social media, Child Life on Call, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook, or you can email me directly at info@childlifepodcast.com. Also, pass this message along, this really quick podcast, to grandparents, child life specialists, nurses, teachers that are exposed to kids, and let's have a united front about how we're going to cover this topic when it comes to our kids. Our kids are already really prone to anxiety these days, and so we want to have a really consistent, strong base that provides them with a lot of safety, a safety net. Thank you for listening to the Child Life on Call podcast. I'm your host, Katie Taylor, and you can follow us at Child Life on Call on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Please rate and review to make it easier for other families to find us. We have cute merch available at www.bonfire.com/store/childlifeoncall, and you can listen to more episodes and find resources at childlifepodcast.com.